Panasonic PTZ cameras are top tier, so why not pair them with our flagship controller, the PTZ Extreme? With over 200 parameters integrated and countless customization options, our controllers offers unmatched flexibility to meet your specific needs. And in this video, we'll focus on advanced features like cropping, PTZ Trace, which by the way is the feature we have added, and Panasonic's powerful preset recall options. This is AW-UR100. This is an outdoor camera. And the first thing you may notice is that it has a wiper that we can turn on and off. It's just a fun little thing to show here in the studio. Obviously, we have no rain and no problems with that, but that is a part of an outdoor camera. And yeah, it's a thing. All right, so we can, of course, control pan and tilt of a camera like this one. We can also recall a preset, and that is a push by button, and you now see the camera is moving into a specific position which has been pre-recorded. We can also zoom in a little bit here to find another cropping. Maybe we want to do a crop like this over here. Okay, let's just go there, and then maybe we want to adjust the focus a little bit here. Okay, that looks nice. We want to save this on preset number 10. So we press and hold. It is now stored. We can go between this preset and oh, whoa, behold, it is actually doing that like gently. That's nice, isn't it? And the reason for that is because if we go, we can go forth and back, by the way, here in the menus. If we go to the preset menu, you will see that we have set it in time mode. So instead of the regular speed table mode, which would give us a preset recall like quick and quick. Then if we put it in time mode, it's set to 5 seconds, and it means that it will spend 5 seconds to get to the other position. We can, of course, adjust that a little bit. Maybe let's dial it down to 3 seconds. Now we go in here, but we should still see that it's actually reaching its position in 3 seconds, more or less synchronized between zoom and pan. That has to do with this mode as well. So actually the zoom can be sort of out of sync with pan if that is for whatever reason useful for you. So if we press this button, you'll actually see that it's spending a little bit more time to get pan into position, and now it's zooming in quickly and then it's panning into position. So there's a lot of things you can control here. And honestly, if you go through these menus, every single one of them, you'll find that many of these settings are so detailed. There's actually another video with these cameras, these high-end cameras, so I don't want to talk about the colors. I don't want to talk about the color matrix, really. I just want to show you what I showed in that other video, that we have color-coded the encoders so that they are sort of nice and conductive for your direction. When you need to find the right encoder, you can go by color, not just by the label of the parameter. We also have the image menu, we have details, so all these Panasonic related settings, you'll know them if you own these cameras. So you can read from the header what it is, and you'll instantly know what they do. So many of these things has been covered in other videos, but not the preset recall, and you just saw it, okay? So another thing that we can do is to do PTZ Trace, and that was a SKAARHOJ invented feature. It is actually functional for any camera you can add. So you can add not just PTZ cameras from Panasonic, but also Canon and Sony and let me see, PTZ Optics or Ivonic or IDA, or you know, there are so many brands. We have like hundreds of PTZ cameras integrated, and any of those can actually be controlled with PTZ Trace. Let's try it out. It has to be enabled. So we press and hold the upper edge of this key. So that's like a secret pathway into the engineering menu. And inside of here, you see the IP address of the controller and some other settings. Like, for instance, what is the direction of pan? You can actually invert that. You can invert the tilt direction if you want flight mode control. You can invert zoom direction and so forth. So those are things you find in the engineering menu. You can also adjust the brightness of the display if you want to do these things. Let's just keep it medium. But Trace can be enabled here, and cruise control as another SKAARHOJ specific feature. And now they are enabled. When I exit, it actually means cruise control is right here. By the way, what is that? Cruise control is usually something I would suggest that you put onto a foot pedal underneath the table. We don't have that today, so I'll rather use this button. So notice what happens now. I am now starting a pan on this camera. Holding down this button, I am hands off the joystick, and as I release the button, it stops the panning. That is useful because it actually allows me to start an operation on this camera. Notice that it's panning. I'm changing over to the UE150, and now I can actually use this camera while it is still panning. And now, so notice that I'm releasing the button, and UR100 actually stopped. All right. So that is cruise control. It allows one operator to use a foot pedal, for instance, to basically have one camera in motion while operating another one, recalling a preset or whatever, and then by releasing the foot pedal, he will stop the action. It's like a sustain pedal on a piano. But what we wanted to do was not look at cruise control only, but also PTZ Trace. Let's try that out. Now, for PTZ Trace on the UR100, we have actually 2 traces already, but we want to make our own. So the first thing I want to do is to get into position. You're still mystified maybe what PTZ Trace is, but let's try this one out. I'll start a trace on number 8. So I press and hold for 3 seconds, and it will start recording steps. All right, so now I'll just make a nice and slow pan from the car here. Moving over to the logo, SKAARHOJ logo here on the side. You can see the camera moving, and that's kind of important that you can. And now I'll slow down this pan a little bit. Okay, and now I'll move the camera a little quicker because I need you to be able to see that it can actually move. So, because in a moment I will demonstrate it with the other one. So I'll just zoom in here, and now I'll stop. Okay, so this has now been recorded as a trace, and notice what happens as I'm pressing that button. It is recalling first the initial preset, going back to the position where the trace started. That's where we are right now. And when I press a second time, it will now play back the speed steps I just recorded. That's what a trace is, and that can be done on any camera, Panasonic or otherwise. So it is now doing that. So what I wanted to show you is that as I'm now changing over to the UE150 camera, I can operate that while the UR100 camera is being operated as well in parallel from this controller. Now, if you wonder how many cameras can you actually control at the same time from a PTZ Extreme, well, there are definitely limits to how many the system inside is realistically able to control. So you may have to load balance. But we have installations with like 120 PTZ cameras from Panasonic that gets controlled by multiple PTZ Extremes. But each of them can reach any of the cameras simultaneously, even if they wanted to. But the important thing is that they can basically have a camera selector with like 10 pages of cameras and get to any of those cameras without having to like, reload to a different group and so on. That's very unique for SKAARHOJ controllers, that we can actually keep up and have ways to keep up communication with like 120 cameras and have immediate access from a PTZ Extreme or multiple of those. So contact us if you have like a reality TV show where you need that kind of interaction with Panasonic or otherwise brand of cameras, because we have ways to solve this. But you saw that trace running. It is getting back to its position, and while it did, I was able to adjust the AW-UR150. Now we want to take a look at cropping. Cropping is a feature on the Panasonic cameras where you have these rectangles, and if I use the joystick, you can see that I can use these to select crops out of a 4K image. And I can also, so I can basically do that. I can also change which one I am basically adjusting. So I can go to the green instead, and I can also see that crop that I just did. So if I change over here from seeing the full picture to the crop, you see that crop that I just made, the magenta crop. And then if I choose the magenta to still adjust that one, you see that I'm basically using the PTZ joystick not to move the head, because I'm not moving the head. The head is just standing still, but I'm using the PTZ joystick in the crop menu to basically operate the cropping out of the 4K image this one is delivering. So that's what cropping is, okay? The way it's controlled on the controller is that for those rectangles you saw, magenta, we had green, and we had yellow, each of those can represent an output. You can also choose where do you want to send those outputs. You can send them over on IP. You can also send them out on SDI, which I'm doing right now. So we are looking at the crop. You can see I switch into the full view. This is like the full image we have. And this is my crop view of currently the yellow. So if I make sure that yellow is both chosen here, this is what I adjust. So now I'm basically using the joystick to adjust the yellow. And I'm seeing that on the output. You see that's PTZ action for you there. Then I can adjust over to the green. I'll change to the green. So this is my green crop, and I can now zoom into something else. Okay. And then I can go to my magenta crop, and we have that there. Okay. So, and adjust that, of course, as well. This setting had to do with the cropping mode, and also whether I see like the full or I see the crop of, or this crop, the magenta crop at the moment. So basically going between these, you see I'm changing between the 3 crops, and you also see this in the web UI of the camera, that whatever I'm changing here is corresponding to the output that I'm seeing there. Settings like which of the different crops I'm adjusting is also exposed. So if I change that over to green, I can do that on the controller here as well. Then you see it changes to green on the PTZ Extreme. And that is of course expected, because any setting that we do here is pulled out of the camera. So if you do it through the web UI, it will also update on the controller and vice versa, because we always do two-way communication in our integrations. So Panasonic PTZ cameras and SKAARHOJ PTZ controllers is the perfect choice for a flexible and future-ready control experience. And our deep integrations ensures that you're always fully supported. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on social media or reach out to our sales and support team. Links to all that is in the description below. Thanks for watching.